I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Columbia Pictures presents Chuck Norris, the master fighter of our time. Now he must face an indestructible man in one final showdown that will push him to his limits and beyond. Chuck Norris in Silent Rage, rated R. Starts Friday at a theater near you.
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. There's another paid request, this time from Alban. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, randomness, out of the blueness, re-reviews, whatever, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the 1982 film Silent Rage, starring Chuck Norris. Science created him. Now Chuck Norris must destroy him. Pretty much, it's a slasher film, even though the director looks at it as more as a Frankenstein story. To science created a monster. The monster, for the most part, kills people with his hands, not knives or anything. So I can see what he means by it being a Frankenstein, science gone awry type of story. And it is, but at the same time, with the way the music is, with the way you have these POV shots, people... bodies being found, hung on the door, like what Jason Voorhees would do. Again, the POV. There's a lot of moments that make it feel like a slasher. The suspense scenes in the hospital, which is reminiscent of Halloween 2 that came out the year before. So, yeah, the slasher. It's not unfair to call it a slasher film. But if you want to call it Frankenstein monster, type of film in that way, again, science gone awry, I can see that as well. Now, Chuck Norris, I'm a fan of. I love the Missing in Action films, Invasion USA, Firewalker's my personal favorite. I even like Force Vengeance, Sidekicks, so forth. Delta Force. Silent Rage is one of my favorites of his because it was cool to see him in a different environment, in a horror film, sci-fi horror film, more horror. And at this time, Chuck had done movies with kind of lower production studios, whether it be A Force of One and The Octagon he did with one studio. I think An Eye for an Eye was like Embassy Pictures or something to that. I can't remember. I think one of the reasons he did this film was, number one, to do something different, and number two, because kind of his first big studio picture, because this was Columbia Pictures. And then after that, you had him worked with MGM. I think Force Vengeance was after this. That was MGM. And then eventually go with Cannon Films, that became his bread and butter, to stick with that company throughout most of the 80s. He's pretty much the biggest star of Cannon Films in the 80s. And like I said, at the time, this is probably the biggest studio he was with. At now, Columbia Pictures, people don't even think of it because it's part of Sony. They all, yeah, not going off tangent. Now, why do I enjoy this film? From the get-go, it starts off great. I mean, the opening where you have this glass window, like almost like a church type of window, and it's very, very creepy music by Peter Bernstein and Mark Goldenberg. Give big credit to the people who did the score. This is a fantastic score. It's eerie, it's creepy, and like the beginning, it gives you the heebie-jeebies. It's like, ugh, like, was what a horror film should do. Is you're creeped out by the opening music, and then your bad guy, Brian Libby, he's in this, I don't know, it's like a halfway house, whatever it is, and everything's being hectic, kids are running around, the mom's trying to get to the kids, and he calls like, "Doc, I need help. I'm losing it. I'm losing it." I thought Brian Libby did a good job portraying a character that, like, you can physically see it, that he's gone. Like, "I'm not feeling well, I can't find my pills." And then he does, like, this move, like almost you can physically see his sanity leaving his body. Which sounds silly, but I thought Brian Libby actually did a rather good job. And when he's killer mode, he's got a good look to him. He's like, "Doc, I can't make it." And he has like the sanity physically left his body. And I thought the director did a really good job with the suspense scenes. I thought, especially the opening, people who knocked this film, I think I would say they're being unfair. That's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. Because you look at this opening, and you see how the camera doesn't cut when all this hectic stuff's going on. He goes outside, but the camera stays inside. We're watching through the window as these kids are playing around, and there's an axe there, and he's picked up the axe, and he walks away, like, where is he? And then the mom is looking around, and he comes in, and then he disappears. You're like, where is he? Was he going to strike? Is he going to get one of the kids? What's going to happen? And then chases the woman up the stairs. Now, it's not a gory film. Those expecting gore, you're going to be very, 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 very disappointed. There's really no gore in the film. None at all. Which is disappointing. I mean, it'd be nice to have gore, but that's not this film. But it does show that even if it doesn't have gore, it can still be a good slasher film. Whether it's creatively written and acted like April Fool's Day, or whether it has, again, great music, nice suspenseful sequences to build up tension, and Chuck fucking Norris doing his thing. With this is the years of just his mustache. I'm trying to think, what was the first movie he had his beard? Might have been Lone Wolf McQuade. That might have been the first film he had his beard. Like the whole shebang, mustache and beard. And Chuck Norris is the sheriff of this town. He goes in, battles this guy, finally gets him arrested. Guy gets out of his handcuffs, gets shot, taken to the hospital. Chuck Norris is having this off again, on again love story. The lovey-dovey stuff I wasn't really big on. I could handle it, I could deal with it, but I would say it's the least interesting part of the movie. But thankfully, a lot of the other stuff saves that portion from it. Whether it cuts to our scientists, some good actors. You got Ron Silver, who would later be the villain in Time Cop, the Jean-Claude Van Damme film. Deadly Outbreak with Jeff Speakman. He was in Live Wire with Pierce Brosnan. He was in Blue Steel with Jamie Lee Curtis. Very good actor, may he rest in peace. The Arrival with Charlie Sheen. Here he plays a decent doctor. And then the other guy, I think one is Stephen Keats, and the other is William Finley. William Finley was in the film Phantom of the Paradise. And I thought they did a nice job. Of course, they're experimenting in genetic engineering. The one guy wants to do a test. Well, he'll die anyway. And the cells are regenerating, and it alters his cell structure. So now, pretty much they inadvertently made a guy who's invulnerable. And a lot of times with slasher films, it's like, okay, when the killer's not killing, you gotta have something more interesting, or just as interesting, to be on the screen. A lot of times it's, kids trying to be lovey-dovey, or here is Chuck Norris kicking ass, which I don't object to. In fact, I enjoy that, because you have one of Chuck Norris's best ass-kicking scenes in a movie. I still think my favorite is Firewalker, the bar scene, but in this is just, nobody called the police, it must be a mirage. And he's just kicking ass. There's a great moment where he blots a pool cue, breaks it, and when he turns around, he uses that same pool cue that he broke to hit the guy in the face. He's doing jump kicks. He's throwing people to the fucking bar and across the bar stand, and some nice kicks. Kind of like Van Damme would do later on, where you have the leg high and you kind of do the, like, you would kind of see Van Damme do that a bit later in his movies. Maybe not as fast as Chuck, but remember in Kickboxer when he's laid up and Tonpo, while here's Chuck doing a little bit faster, like kicking ass. Knocks a guy off the motorcycle. Like, if you want to see what Chuck can do with his move set, this is a great scene to showcase it. And of course you have the killer stalking the other doctors, including Ron Silver. And I thought the director did a nice job with the suspense scenes. The music is eerie and gloomy and creepy. Again, you have POV shots like Halloween, like a lot of slasher films. And granted, I do wish, gore would have been nice. Gore would have been interesting. I don't think Chuck would have wanted to be in that kind of movie, though. So I think if you say it's like a Frankenstein type of movie, he's like, oh, okay. Because slasher films were very much looked down upon. And, I mean, the whole finale where the killer's in the hospital, very much like Halloween 2, which is not a bad thing. I know some people on YouTube have done, like, Chuck Norris versus Michael Myers. They try to edit the two together, and you can find them on YouTube. And that's why the moniker is Chuck Norris versus Michael Myers, because if Michael Myers, when he took off his mask in the first Halloween, he kind of looks a little bit like Brian Libby, a little bit. And you have the jumpsuit. The jumpsuit is similar, not the same, but similar to what Michael Myers wore. So if you get, like, people have edited, but if you get someone who really, really knows how to edit, and, like, somehow you make it where, if there's a scene where Michael Myers gets hit, and then maybe a shot where Michael Myers' mask is on the ground, and then you have Chuck fighting Michael Myers with the Halloween music. But I don't know how to edit that. Again, some I've tried on YouTube, but it's a fun motif to think, like, if Chuck Norris fought Michael Myers, this is the closest you'll get to it. But there's some really good suspense scenes where the POV is going through the hospital, and the girl's trying to, Chuck Norris' girlfriend, is it safe, is it not safe? Stephen First, I should mention, plays Deputy, Chuck Norris' friend, who's the comic relief. And spoiler alert, it's actually surprising when you watch it again that he gets killed, because usually the comic relief, because, okay, if you don't look at it as a slash film, you look at it as whatever movie, usually, the comic relief doesn't get killed. Not true here. He gets killed, gets his bat broken, and I just see if that was done today, there'd be some studio mandate. Did you make him live? But I thought it worked fine that he died. I mean, I like Stephen First. I think sadly he's passed away, I believe. He was in Animal House. He's been in other movies as well. And yeah, I believe he passed away. If not, I apologize. If so, rest in peace. I thought he did fine for what he had to do. I don't think he was that annoying. Some people may find him irritating. I thought he worked fine. I think he's definitely more of the comedic relief of the picture. And there are scenes, ever since I was a kid, that I remember being eerie. Like when the Dr. William Finley, he thinks he's injected the guy to his death. He's walked away down this hallway. As he's walking down, right in back, you see like the light from a door that's opening. And then you just see from way far away. And the fact that it was done so far away, and you just see with the way the music plays out and the door, like you don't see the door, but you just know it opens because the light shines, and you see the shadow of the person slowly walking. That just makes it a bit more eerie to it. Like, right, the doctor's stupid to walk towards him. You're that fucking far away. You run like a motherfucker. That's what you do. But he's stupid, and he dies for it. He died for his stupidity. Again, you see that motherfucker walking towards you. You're that far away. You be like Leon Spinks, you run like a motherfucker. You try to go for the Olympics, you go for the gold. But hey, what can you do? It's a slasher film. At the end of the day, it's a slasher film. There are people that do stupid shit in slasher films all the time. But I like the way that, I thought it was, again, the director, the way he set up the scenes, it's a bit underrated. Bit underrated as a suspense director. I don't know what else he's done, but he did a fairly good job compared to other slasher films I've seen. I'm sorry, I mean, I know The Prowler has a lot of gore. I would rather watch this movie because I think the suspense scenes are done better. I like the cast more, especially Chuck. Has more, it's a lot less boring than The Prowler. And the only thing The Prowler has going for is gore. And that tells you, just because it has gore doesn't mean the end all be all. And I like gore, but I look for more in a movie than gore. Yes, if you do it with enough style and surprise and momentum and energy, you can overcome it, but that's a rare feat. It's a rare feat. I mean, even Dead Alive, it's great gore, but it's also a lot of creativity by Peter Jackson, and I actually like the lead guy, and it's actually rather funny at times with the humor, so even that has more gore into it than gore. And this, while it does have gore, I think it has a lot of other merits to it. And granted, yep, it's another hospital where it's fucking empty, like Halloween 2. I'm sure many people are like, why the fuck is this hospital so goddamn empty? Are there only like 20 people that live in this town? It's a pretty big hospital if it's a small town. It's pretty, I mean, well, maybe, I don't know. I don't know why the hospital's so goddamn empty. Same with Halloween 2. I don't know why the hospital was so fucking empty. I don't know. But you know what? Even if it doesn't make sense, I still like it that way, because the hospital is still an eerie place to be no matter what. And then if you had 18 people there, I guess if you had a big budget, you had a slasher kill all of those people, and then like someone wakes up from like a coma or wakes up from a sleep they were injected in, and then they walk around and you could do the suspense at a hospital full of dead bodies. I actually like to see that. Like someone's forced with an injection, forced to make go to sleep so they don't hear anything, and then they wake up, and then they gotta go through that, and then you have the same thing, only now you know why the hospital's empty, because the killer killed them all. They haven't made that movie yet, I'll see it. But yeah, I love the hospital location. I think that works well with the slasher film. Chuck Norris, shoots the motherfucker out the window, fights him. And yeah, I know it's like, well, come on, if you shoot him and you burn him up, just they did a car chase, crash and burn. He survived burning, he survived getting shot. So what, are we to expect that Chuck Norris is going to kill him with his fists? It's Chuck Norris. His fists are powerful, including the one in his beard. Or in this case, it'd be in his mustache. So yes, they're more powerful than a bullet. So if Chuck Norris punches you, it's better than a bazooka. So yes, Chuck Norris could kill with his hands. He's not doing push-ups, he's pushing the earth down. Okay. The boogeyman looks in the closet for Chuck Norris. So if it's Chuck, I buy it. Same if it was... That's why I wish Van Damme had done a movie, not saying exactly like this, but similar to this. Whether it be a monster movie or something. I wish Jean-Claude Van Damme had done something like this. His version of Silent Rage. I wish. It doesn't have to be the exact same movie, but again, that'd be cool. That would be fun. That would be entertaining. Fuck The Last Mercenary. He should have done a film like Silent Rage. I guarantee you, if I did a fucking poll, I said, what Van Damme film would you rather have him do? Last Mercenary or a film like Silent Rage? I bet most people would say more like Silent Rage. There you go. Maybe I would make that poll. And then people are like, why the fuck did you make that poll? Well, when you watch this review, now you know why. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll fucking do that. And I like the fight as well. He's kicking ass, taking names. Knocks the motherfucker down. Yes, it leaves room for a sequel. Granted, he can't get his ass up the well, because you look at the well, there's really no way to climb up it. For what I understand, the director at least wanted a sequel. I think that was a wrong decision. I think you should have just ended it there. And, I don't know, have it... I would assume, in my mind, he can't get the fuck out. He would call people, this is where the fuck he's at. You won't believe me. He tries to kill people. Maybe Chuck Norris call, let me have a big fucking heaping of acid. Throw acid in his face. Ah! Okay, you got that dump truck of acid? Or Chuck Norris hits him in the face with acid, jump kicks him, he goes back down in the fucking well, and it's like, okay, I want a bunch of acid, put him the fuck down there, melt him to his fucking bones, take the bones, and you ever play Castlevania? Separate the bones to where the fuck. There you go. How the movie should have ended. Almost a Silent Hill. Silent Rage. I guess that's how I would have ended it. That's ridiculous. Well, I mean, it's Silent Rage. But it's a fun movie. I mean, it's Chuck Norris versus Michael Myers. You get some nice suspenseful scenes, good atmosphere in the hospital setting, a wonderfully creepy, eerie score, Chuck Norris being a badass, having one of his best fight scenes when he fucks up the bar full of bikers. Ron Silver, William Finley, some decent people in the cast. Brian Libby did a good job as the villain. He had the right look. He moved well as the villain. He didn't look silly or laughable at all. Yeah, I didn't really care for the lovey-dovey stuff. Yeah, there's stuff you could pick a little bit apart. Like, why is the hospital set so empty? Like Halloween 2 or... But overall, I think it's a fun, entertaining Chuck Norris film where he got to delve and tip his toe into the horror genre, which he did do a couple more times. The Hero and the Terror and Hellbound. The Hero and the Terror, he fought against a killer, Simon Moon. Kind of a... He would hide in the inner workings of a theater, like a Phantom of the Opera. I liked that. I like that movie. That's more of a dramatic movie, but like I love the third act of that film, going in and out of the inner workings of this theater. The Hero of the Terror, I think, is good. And Hellbound, I wish they had more action kicking, but I do like the buddy cop dynamic in that movie, and it's him getting to fight a demon. Christopher Neame, the bad guy who's in Street Night, among others. Street Night with Jess Speakman. And granted, it's a demon that still looks human, but he has your demonic personality, and at times, you know, you can tell it's a low-budget film, but I still like Hellbound for what it is. But I like when action stars delve into the horror genre. I'm a sucker for that. Arnold, Predator, End of Days. The closest Stallone did was ICU, which is one of the reasons why I like that film. Sadly, Van Damme never did it, which is a shame. But with that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.